it can be as well. And the ult just amplifies the movement speed of your teammates even more, and so useful for the Aatrox later on. It's one of the combinations we have seen last week as well. So Cerberus Esports, they have to be ready, but I think they are, especially with this Vladimir pick, the Gragas ban, and possibly even, you know, a Nautilus takeaway here.
That's a very interesting set of champions to ban out there. And of course, picking the Vladimir here does give BMM a lot of safety in that mid lane, gives him a lot of late game power scaling, especially once he is able to hit that point where, you know, he's got 3 items and he starts just basically blowing people up and getting away with it because of the blood pool. Jax, Saya getting banned out here as well. What is the last ban gonna be? Genza, he still has his Ezreal open. There are a lot of possibilities for him to still pick up here against the Sivir, but whatever it is, he basically is going to be just playing in that lane. There's not going to be what I'm trying to say is there's not going to be a lot of action in that lane. It's going to be a farm fest just because of the nature of the Sivir. But when the mid to late game comes out, Genza's talent really shines on this Ezreal.
I mean, we mentioned the Ezreal a while ago, right? Camille and Ezreal, now both of it has been picked up. Fjordo is going to be the response here of Lemon, of course, to establish side lane control later on against Cerberus Esports. And it can pave a way for them to isolate. I mean, divide and conquer can actually work here against Cerberus Esports, since the Nautilus hasn't been banned away by Cerberus Esports like what we mentioned earlier. It's going to be taken here for Max. But the Yone as a response matchup against an Aatrox will always be a worthy matchup, of course. And Cerberus Esports looking to have the better scaling here, but they have to take watch, of course. Keep an eye on the Akali later on of Fei Bai, because this is going to be their counter for Cerberus Esports.
Yeah, the scaling is really good here for Cerberus Esports, I agree. But just looking at how many avenues JDG has to engage and even disengage, this is going to be very tough for Cerberus Esports to dictate the pace of the match, right? I think the early game is going to be a little bit slow. The mid game is going to be where JDG, you know, starts to push a little bit harder, starts to really try to go for some aggressive skirmishes, because they have so many champions that rely on getting a little bit ahead, or rely on getting some good fights in, so that they can actually take over the game. So can Cerberus Esports really turtle back and prevent that is the question.
It will be answered later on as we go into this first game of this best of 3 series. Again, it's just the first match. JDG and Cerberus Esports has decent scaling and also early game pressure as well. Let's see who is going to be coming on top of this, especially with the Severe and the Akali picked up for both Barry and Fei Bai.
Yeah, a really good matchup here in the mid lane. Can't wait to see how this comes out. As Fei Bai, an incredible Akali versus BMM, who's picking a champion that, you know, kind of counters Akali, but is just really safe overall. The late game is really where they will be shining. Now, Yone in the jungle, I like, because it is kind of a comeback mechanic, especially when you can get that the perfect Fate Seal. But because of that ward Lemon will, that Lemon put down there, they know exactly where he's gonna be. Max already almost getting the kill. He does get the kill over on again. So that was Barry with the first blood, as Akeno has to run for his life. I thought he already flashed. Oh, that dredge line almost hit too. That could have been a 2-for-1. Barry with the level 1. I said the early game was gonna be slow. I was completely wrong.
Yeah, and most of our first blood actually in the bottom lane always involves an Ezreal, but this time we have been seeing Ezreal being the one to get picked off, especially as they overextended. That was the case there for Genza. He got too overzealous, was too deep into the lane in the bottom one, and got caught by Max and Barry. And since this is a Severe with an auto attack reset basically on his Ricochet, that paved the way for them to just get the first blood.
Yeah, that was something that I don't think Cerberus Esports was expecting. Now, that does put Genza in a little bit of a compromising position, especially in that early game, because now, not only can Sivir, bully him in terms of just damage, she can just push the lane constantly over and over and keep him consistently under tower, so that he's always pressed, always trying to get that farm under tower. As they hit level 4, level 5. But Genza, to his credit, is doing really well at trying to get back into the game.
Akenos will be spotting at once, and I mean, he will be fine. It's going to be a big responsibility for Genza to be able to be stable in the bottom lane. BMM is having a great time against Theta, of course, because the Akali doesn't deal that much damage just yet. Top side is okay as well. Cerberus Esports not really trailing that much behind, despite that first blood.
Yeah, it really was just that little bit of lane advantage that they needed. But JDG, Lemon already pushing up, getting a turret plate up in the top lane because of back Taku. I assume that's because of a duel that went a little bit wrong for Taku. Now, once is putting a lot of pressure up there in the top lane, that's for sure. He wants to kind of gap Taku because the Camille versus Fiora matchup is a skill matchup, and he also wants to gap Y1 here, who is actually going to go for gank onto Lemon. But Lemon is able to get away.
Great disengage coming in from Lemon, especially with the pressure of this Yone. I mean, damage not really felt just yet because no items has been picked up by Y1 just yet, so it will take some time. Just like the Akali, just like the Fiora and the Camille, that's one of the disadvantages of picking up scaling champions, but it will be useful later on at 5-minute mark, in which why we see them not really going too hard onto each other. At most, it's just the bottom lane, simply because they have the poke and the burst.
Yeah, this is a very difficult situation to kind of get out of if you do not have to answer to that poker burst. But Akeno is going to get engaged on the dredge line, finding his mark. Max, what an insane player, finding those little avenues to get that dredge line in. And Genza, of course, had to come back from where he was warding and assist, but now that means that he's left under tower here, and Barry can just go hog wild on the tower, as Genza will be shooting him down with some missile shots.
I mean, interesting how we see JDG almost getting 2,000 gold lead with just the first blood, but also because of the waves that they have been able to crash and denied from their matchup as well. It's mostly felt in the bottom lane too, because Genza hasn't really been able to safely farm. That's why we see the rotations coming in pretty early for Cerberus Esports. It is responded as well by JDG, simply because 4.5 minute mark means rotation and prio for mid, so that they can prep up for the objectives as well. But since we see also the influence of Barry having better wave gear, the pressure of Max, this can be problematic for Cerberus Esports.
It is going to be a problem for Cerberus Esports if they're not able to respond to this movement of JDG going towards that Rift Herald. They really want that, but I feel like they really should just trade objectives once they do pop up. But Taku is looking to be maybe a little bit of a target here, a little bit of a target on his back. But JDG, they do want to go for the Rift Herald first and extend their early game lead by getting some of those towers. Of course, the scaling option is for Cerberus Esports.
They will get the dragon instead. It will be interfered.
Yep,
so far fine.
That's a good contest, but they won't be able to get the dragon. Barry and Max doing a lot of damage. Even with just the two of them versus 4, Cerberus Esports had some mad respect there.
Now the RA is going to be spawned into the mid lane to take this tower down early as possible to again just allow JDG to have the better gold. And now it's massively impacting this game pressure as well towards Cerberus Esports. 3,000 gold lead. He will be going back to the base as well to cash in for their item. Lemon not really having that much of a problem, but
Hextech ultimatum onto Lemon, and then he goes for the grand challenge, but Akeno's there. Lemon has the flash out. He was able to defend during the Hextech ultimatum, and he keeps his life.
Yeah, that's the power of a Fiora, especially with the repose, with the launch. You can just slither your way out of harm's way. Y1 is going to be here as well, just full investment.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of resources into this top tower here on Cerberus Esports side, and to his credit, Lemon is doing a really decent job of keeping it held down, especially with Max there. But now into the bot lane, Feibai doing a little bit of damage to BMM, but remember that is a Vladimir, and he had a Honey Fruit, so he'll be completely fine to just take that damage. Feibai, I think, really has to look for opportunities elsewhere.
I mean, we're starting to see the potential of Feibai though, because early into the game, first 5 minutes, we see BMM actually be the one to shove up the waves towards the tower of Feibai. But now, as we see, with just almost one item influence, one is going to be here as well.
Yeah, this is going to be an orchestrated dive if BMM does not sniff it out, but lucky for him, he had a ward there. There is a true shot barrage to clear the wave, basically, and Service Esports, they are just kind of trying to play the farming game right now. They don't want to go for any big engages unless they have the overwhelming advantage, like in that attempted dive in the top lane.
I mean, it's working as well so far. Very 5.9 thousand compared to 5,000 of Genza. I mean, 1,000 gold isn't really too much of a big deal, but with both of them scaling, it's leverage still for Barry.
It really is, and then you think about how, you know, 800, 900 gold, it may not seem like a lot, but that is like a whole item component that you need. So if you're up an item component, that just means that, you know, in terms of raw power, raw stats, you are ahead, and that is nothing to scoff at. So Service Esports, they have to start looking for different opportunities to get in, but there's Max with a flash in onto the Ezreal, and then Genza gets knocked up as well, just immediately evaporated and piled onto as once is now onto Akeno. He was not able to do anything to save his Ezreal, and that's 2 kills there for JDG.
Man, the damage and the engage, the follow-up as well by once, the time that he had the best possible opportunity, just did it without hesitation. That's the power of the Ezreal. Or the power of the Severe, rather. Just a movement speed buff towards the World Ender movement speed buff. You have no way to escape. To add in, of course, Nautilus, single target, CC, of course, will just lock you down. That's why Genza on the Ezreal wasn't able to escape. Despite the hero's entrance, it's been able to, and that's the prowess of this composition of JDG.
Yeah, that def charge was just insane. I mean, he didn't even get the auto attack off, right? Because Genza was able to move out of the way, but then the def charge caught him as he was trying to SM shift across the jungle wall there into the Raptor pit. That might have even actually been a flash, I'm not sure. But yeah, just a lot of things went wrong there for Genza, and that means that Service Esports have a little bit of a window here to get a little bit of revenge onto Max. He's incredibly tanky, but not tanky enough to survive 3 members just full wailing at him.
That's just great gold funneling and Genza getting the kill. Unfortunately though, Service Esports wasn't able to bash in this tower down. So now JDG still remains strong in this momentum that they have so far. 3 kills to 1, 2 towers to nothing, and Service Esports are scrambling so far.
They are looking for a solution. You're right, the word is scrambling. They're scrambling for one as Taku tries to get a little bit onto Feibai, but you can see the chokehold that JDG has on these lanes. They're so good at this lane control. They have completely chased Service Esports away from this Drake. They're not even dreaming of contesting this dragon.
Now what will be the response of Service Esports? Yes, they have initiated this game getting a mountain dragon, but the succeeding dragons has been taken by JDG so far. So the soul has been denied. Baron might be on the table in 2 minutes for JDG, and so far Service Esports has no answers. We saw the potential of this composition a while ago during the pick and bans, especially because of the Camille, Vladimir, and the Galio combination. But so far it's not. Whoa!
Oh,
Flash!
BMM so close to death.
So close.
So close to death. I really thought he was gonna bite the dust there, but man, he barely clung on to life, and that is really good for Service Esports because those are resources taken away from JDG, resources that they can use for this dive onto Lemon. What a ambitious plan here if Service Esports wants to go for it, because Max is going to be there.
Ooh. Yeah. Ignite is gonna take. I mean, Max just Ignite.
Oh! Good duel there. GG says Feibai as he takes the life of Taku, which very unfortunate, but he didn't have the resistances there.
Unfortunate. I mean, now we're seeing why JDG picked up the Akali first in the blue side. It's because of this. How strong Feibai can just utilize it despite the mechanics of the Camille. When you get hit by a shuriken, you're just gonna be done.
Yep. that is all she wrote if you get hit. But the Camille, she does need a little bit more juice in her before she starts being incredibly useful, and that has not happened yet for Taku, unfortunately. He just kind of went even in the lane, and then when things started going around, Akali went up there, and then he just can't compete now in a 1v1. Yeah, that's incredibly scary.
This Kenza recalling right in front of the Aatrox. Fortunately, wasn't been cancelled, or else that would have been a kill. But so far, we just the kills, the towers, JDG just accelerating the lead and becoming more and more stable as they scale up. 12 minutes into the game, we already see a 7,000 gold lead by JDG. Baron definitely is going to be on the table. They're already setting up Vision on the top side. Split push by Lemon in the bottom lane as Feiba is pushing top lane. And Cerberus Esports so far without answers, still just scrambling around, trying to scale up. Taku.
Oh, I think this could be a little bit of an answer, but that's a good flash from BMM to keep
hurts?
Lemon off of his toe. He does hurt quite a lot, but he still goes down.
What?
Lemon is alive. He keeps alive, and Taku goes down. Somehow, Lemon survived with 1 HP and all that. Rockets was able to heal out and wait for the homies. So JDG will be grabbing a couple of free kills for themselves.
Yeah, free kills, and Lemon is the one to stand his ground, pick up a kill as well along the way despite that 2 versus 1.
Yeah, but now, man, that was just a little surprising. I would say now Y1 though, this is going to be a big surprise when he realized that he's being chased by like 3 people. But they have kind of found Barry inside the jungle. At least he is able to dodge on that true shot barrage. But it is a 1-for-0 for JDG as they're looking to try to get Cerberus Esports away from their jungle at this moment.
Yes, Cerberus Esports have been trying. Flash in.
Oh, good flash in. But Max, can he do it? That's a triple death charge there. He knocked the 3 people.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go. Now once is going to be coming in once upon a time.
Good damage.
That is a good hero's entrance, but unfortunately, he just was. He once was not able to get inside the fight there. Hey, bye from the side. They know that he's there. They know he's an Akali.
I mean, despite their Galio falling down, Akano getting taken up after not being able to be followed up as soon as he went in, still injected some gold towards Genza, especially with him getting a shutdown onto once. I think that's going to be very pivotal here for Cerberus Esports. Feibai not committing onto the fight earlier means that Genza is going to be able to continue scaling up. And as we see, gold lead by Barry isn't really a whole lot. So this time, it can be an avenue for Genza again to start carrying the team.
Oh man, Genza is something. He's kind of what Cerberus Esports depends on right now. And he is going to be coming into this fight already. The true shot barrage onto Just Max, but the Yone's already gone. Fade by looking for an assassination here. There's a Hextech ultimatum to keep their Kali off of Genza. They're doing everything in their power to keep this Ezreal alive as Lemon tries his best to go in.
Man.
And he's got it caught and taken out once. Just runs up to him, hits the ground running, and JDG get a few more kills for themselves. That is actually a 4-for-0, a clean 4K for them.
Absolutely. Cerberus Esports, especially Taco, try to dissuade Feibai to go up against Genza. But that's the main problem. You only have 1 lockdown. And JDG has so much engaged champions. The Fiora is there, the Aatrox is there, the Akali is there, being buffed up with movement speed by the Severe. Let's check this replay out, because after that Baron take, it's just a massive swing already by JDG. Genza got a little too far forward, and Feibai had a great angle to go in because the Cerberus Esports did not have vision over that bottom side rush. And Taku tried to initiate, of course, with the Hextech ultimatum. But the main problem is that once Lemon and everyone is just rushing there after securing so many kills already on Cerberus Esports. And after the ace, or after the 4 kills that they've gotten, they have secured a Baron. So that 6,000 gold lead suddenly turned to 10,000 gold.
That just ballooned immediately. JDG accelerated the pace of the game so much that Cerberus Esports, even if Jens is able to stay safe, I don't think he's going to be able to tear through, all of this meat that is on max, that is on once, and even Lemon with his damage. So he's really good in extended fights, but can Cerberus Esports even survive an extended fight long enough for Genza to be able to do his damage is the question.
Let's see. They're going to be able to successfully defend. The Baron is going to be very difficult to push through.
There's the stasis already on the galley. McKenna is able to get out of there.
Ooh,
Max
almost
just had the stasis because he was... And then the blood explosion coming in from BMM to take at least one kill for themselves. But remember, there's a Fiora in their bot lane taking their inhib turret. And that means that their Nexus is exposed, already less than full health.
Cerberus Esports able to stand their ground. This was one of our questions a while ago, especially with the team fight win of JDG a while ago with the Baron secured as well. Cerberus Esports still able to stand their ground. They only lost a couple of their towers. Still, the game is withstandable at the very least. The only question, or at least the main concern still that remains, is the anti-engage that they should be having here. The protection, the peel for Genza. Because so far, it remains the same. JDG able to just rush towards him, and with him down, there's absolutely no damage here for Cerberus Esports.
Yeah, Cerberus is in such a tight spot. I struggle to see how they're going to get out of this bind. Because number one, they have to fight all together, and they have to fight in a pretty weird kind of way. They have to be kind of disengaging JDG, as JDG is always going to try to go in on Genza, basically. BMM has to be distracting them by kind of tearing apart the backline. But at the same time, Max just flashes in and goes for the depth charge, and even without Hero's entrance, Genza is just caught out. Can he get out of there, though? He's able to run away and survive. No, Feibai hunts him down on the back side of it. He's going to go on to BMM, and then Akano falls as well, as JDG, they just snipe the main carry of Cerberus Esports, and they funnel into the base. They have a minion wave. There's only Taku left, as Taku tries to use the Hextech ultimatum to disrupt a little bit. He won't be able to defend, and that is going to be game number one. Go to JDG.
It took some time, but when JDG was able to scale up, get their power spike, especially after the Rift Herald transition into